I'm Roman Yossi of the Nashville Predators.
I'm Matt Duchesne of the Nashville Predators.
I'm Justus Aros of the Nashville Predators.
I'm Ryan Johansson of the Nashville Predators.
You're listening to the Renegades of Puck
with Crazy Charlie.
Welcome to the bunker. Welcome to the Renegades of Puck podcast. I'm your host and captain, Crazy Charlie Saunier. And before we get to the no half step in hockey coverage, let me direct you to our home website, renegadesofpuck.com. Once you go to renegadespuck.com, you'll learn everything you need to know about the show. And once you're getting educated about the show, you can click on that merchandise tab. That's where you're going to see our classic logo t-shirt, our pride logo t-shirt, all of our different special event t-shirts, and so much more. All the gimmicks you've come to know and love and expect from the Renegades of Puck are all still available in our online store. Socks, throw pillows, wall art, bed sets. That's right. You can outfit your entire home or your entire person with Renegades of Puck merchandise, and we sure would appreciate that you would do that very thing. After all, we've sold out so that you can buy in. Social media is of critical importance to this independent hockey operation, so listen up, Renegades, as we're going to have to start to diversify our social media presence. You can find us on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and we are still on Twitter, though limited. We can still be found there. You can also find us on YouTube, and we would appreciate a subscription. Thank you to all of our brand new subscribers. Stick taps, love, and respect each and every one of you. Over 200 episodes of Renegades of Puck TV available on YouTube, and 500 plus videos now available on our YouTube channel, all completely free for you. So make sure you not only subscribe, but turn on those notifications so that you'll know exactly when we put out our newest and latest videos. You can also find the audio podcast on numerous platforms. Just search Renegades of Puck in your preferred platform today, or check out a couple of these examples: Google, Stitcher, Spotify. You can also find us on iTunes and several other platforms thanks to the Full Press Coverage Network. We sure are appreciative of everybody working behind the scenes to help us be platformed on more places than we ever have before and help get the show in front of more Renegades than ever before. The month of June was the single best month in show history, and that was because of the Full Press Network and because of Renegades just like you watching and listening to the podcast right now. We sure are so appreciative of you helping us reach such a significant milestone in the month of June, and we're looking to continue on. We have so much more to cover and so much more to talk about. But that's how you can find the audio podcast, and you can find it on numerous platforms today. Venmo, that's how you can become a financial donor or a sponsor of the show. Just search Renegades of Puck at Venmo or scan the QR code that's currently on your screen. Every dollar goes a long way to helping the Renegades of Puck, an independent hockey operation. So please, if you can spare it, send it our way. Every bit of it goes to helping out the Renegades of Puck. Now that we're into the summertime, we are looking to make some advancements, especially in the technology side of things here for the studio and for the bunker. We're doing a great job, but we can certainly be more efficient, and we can do that by adding some better computers and better equipment to the bunker that we already have. So again, stick taps, love, and respect, and appreciate each and every one of you. Every dollar goes a long way to helping this independent hockey operation. Now listen, I know it's time for the no half step in hockey coverage, so let me deliver the goods. It's time for operation number 775. That's right, we're already at show number 775, and at this moment in hockey history, it's time to go back and recap the 2023 NHL draft. So this is the beginning of the news cycle for Nashville Predators coverage here on the Renegades of Puck podcast, as we put the old season away and we begin fresh with a new season. And there is a ton to talk about. So let's get into it, and let's give you some analysis and reaction on top of the headlines of the news. Now, the draft itself was held here in Nashville, Tennessee at Bridgestone Arena. I'm glad that many of you seem to have a good time. You ate the wrong hot chicken, you bought into the wrong jokes while you were here, and you probably missed out on some good parties that were happening behind the scenes. But it seems like you had a good time while you were here, and thanks for coming. Thanks for cleaning up after yourselves, and most importantly, thanks for spending your money while you were here. That helps me as a property owner here in the Nashville area. So let's go back and talk about the draft that took place here in Nashville. The Nashville Predators had 13 picks in this draft, and they ended up selecting 8 forwards, 2 defensemen, and 1 goaltender, which means that's 11 players. So they made 2 trades along the way. Let's recap the draft, and there's so much news that I would have normally spent an entire episode just on the draft, but we're going to have to move on quickly. So let's talk about the draft. A lot of expectations, a lot of talks about the Nashville Predators looking to move up to 5th overall. The rumors were hot and heavy throughout the day when you could still follow along on Twitter, at least at that moment in time. But the Nashville Predators ended up not moving up, because apparently moving up would have cost the Nashville Predators Yaroslav Askarov and possibly more. So the Preds stayed with the 15th pick, and they would pick Matthew Wood with that selection. 6'4", 197-pound forward, 34 points at UConn, expected to return to UConn next season. Now, we all know that the mentality going in was that the new general manager for the Nashville Predators, Barry Trotz, said, get me some players that will get people out of their seats, take some risks, and Matthew Wood, some people seem to think, is just a little bit of a risk, but has an awful lot of upside. He certainly has the size, and going back to college to play hockey, we will see him at prospect camp, and then he will go back for college. Now, the 24th overall pick, the Preds did have a second first-round pick, Tyler Molendijk, and 5'11", 181 defenseman, and everyone talks about his skating ability right here, and if he can skate as well as everybody is talking about describing, then he will have a faster path to the NHL than many prospects. So the 24th overall pick for the Nashville Predators, the defenseman. Now, they moved up in the second round. That's where one of the trades came in, and they moved up to 43rd so they could pick Felix Nilsson, 6', 187 center, a two-way center with a high hockey IQ, and he was absolutely has a massive compete level. The Nashville Predators believed in him enough to move up those couple of spots to go ahead and pick him at the 43rd pick. Now, at the 46th pick, also in the second round, Kalen Lind, a 6', 158-pound forward. Now, moving on to the third round with the 68th overall pick, the Nashville Predators selected Jesse Kiskinen, 6', 190-pound forward, and moving on to the also in the third round, 83rd overall pick, Dylan McKinnon, 6', 290-pound defenseman from Halifax. Of course, the Nashville Predators have a lot of experience watching Halifax over the last couple of seasons because of significant prospects that they have in that organization. In the fourth round, the 111th pick, Joey Willis, 5'10", 170 forward, 44 points in the OHL this year for Saginaw Saints. With the 121st pick, it was Juha Jukkola, 6'1", 176-pound goalie, and it was he was a fast-rising prospect. He's 2 to 3 years from being in Milwaukee. So the Nashville Predators do pick up a goaltender in this draft. In the fifth round, the 143rd overall pick, Sutter Mazzotti, 6'5", 210 pounds. And you can't teach that, meaning the 6'5", and the size is what everybody notices with this player and this prospect right away. But a late bloomer. This is one of those players that the Nashville Predators were willing to take a risk on. I think that the size is going to be what wows a lot of people. And if he can put the skill together with that as he moves up through the system, then he could be one day an impressive prospect. In the sixth round, the 175th overall pick, Austin Roost, 5'10", 175-pound forward. In the seventh round, the 218th overall pick, traded with New Jersey, David Poyle's final deal in the NHL as a GM. And of course, it happened with Fitzgerald over in New Jersey. He was the first Nashville Predators ever captain, of course, under Barry Trotz. Aiden Fink ends up being the player, an offensive player with a lot of upside, a project for the future. But that would do it for the draft, and that would wrap things up for David Poyle's last draft with the Nashville Predators / Barry Trotz's first draft as the Nashville Predators GM and a rookie GM. Looking at the overall class, there is nothing out of the picks that's going to come in and help anywhere in the organization immediately. Matthew Wood, you would hope, is going to be in Milwaukee in a year from now. After returning back to UConn, he should be ready to come to the AHL after that season. So for the Nashville Predators, not really sure what to make of this draft. The draft grades seem to be around B. If you take the averages of the different analysts around social media, seem to be around a B grade so far for the Nashville Predators. So we'll have to see how all of these prospects turn up. But again, 8 forwards, 2 defensemen, 1 goaltender, and 2 trades made at the draft here in Nashville by the Nashville Predators. Barry Trotz then wooed everybody afterwards with a good press conference, and he said the draft was exciting, but don't count on much happening with free agency starting immediately in the next couple of days, and things would be all quiet because, after all, it wasn't that impressive of a free agent class. We're going to talk about that next. That's the reason we have to have more than one episode dedicated to the amount of information coming out of the Nashville Predators right now, and that's what we're doing right here. Get back in 30 seconds with the Renegades of Puck podcast.
Hockey players are as unique as the game itself, and your uniform should be tailored to fit you. Rebirth Sports is your sports apparel tailor. From shells, bags, warm-ups, hats, hoodies, branding, and more, let Rebirth Sports be your custom hockey tailor.
And don't forget to tell them they do more than just hockey.
Rebirth Sports on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Rebirth Sport, a match made in hockey.
Now, the day after the draft, expecting everything to be quiet, that's not what happened here in Nashville. The Nashville, Barry Trotz, under Barry Trotz as the brand new GM, Nashville has been a story of chaos almost every day. We talked last week about the Ryan Johansson trade, and we talked about all the things that were going on leading up to the draft and all of the chaos. And now, right after the draft, Matt Duchene is bought out with 3 years remaining on his contract. That's going to lead to $8.8 million in dead cap space for this Nashville Predators team. And listen to the 4 names that are going to be collecting money to not play for the Nashville Predators: Ryan Johansson, Matthias Ekholm, Kyle Turris, and now Matt Duchene. How that money works out over the years, let me just go ahead and break that down to you. And this is just going to be a lot of numbers right here, but let me throw it at you so that you can get your mind around it. In 23-24, so this next season, Matt Duchene will be paid $2.56 million to not play for the Nashville Predators. The season after that, 24-25, Matt Duchene will be paid $5.56 million to not play for the Nashville Predators. The year after that, 6.56, and then 1.56, 1.56, 1.56, all the way up through 28-29. So Matt Duchene, 3 years remaining on his contract. That will be spread out over 6 years on the buyout. And since he has been released, he went ahead and signed a 1-year contract with the Dallas Stars at $3 million. So obviously the market correction on Matt Duchene was quite significant over the money he would have made for the Nashville Predators. But this upcoming season, we paid $3 million by the Dallas Stars and $2.56 million by the Nashville Predators, again, to not play for this Predators organization. But Barry Trotz obviously must have his reasons. So why this move? How did you sell the ownership group on eating this much money and spending this much on a player that's not going to be playing for your hockey team? And I think that Barry Trotz's quotes afterwards in free agency, when signing the free agents we're about to talk about, may have a lot to do with it. We kind of got on our radar when Barry Trotz said that he was not going to trade Jussi Saros, and that Saros, Forsberg, and Josi are the kind of players that you build around. Now, this was obviously just after the Johansson trade, and Matt Duchene's name did not come up in the "this is the group of players you build around." Immediately, I had a feeling that was going to be the end for Matt Duchene. Thought maybe there was a trade, and perhaps the Nashville Predators did attempt to trade him at the draft, but buying him out immediately after the draft and eating this much money moving forward over the next 6 years just to remove Matt Duchene from the locker room and from the Nashville Predators, must have been a very big sell. And Barry Trotz's quote with the free agents that he signed is he doesn't want players to come here to retire. He wants players to come here and win. Perhaps that's all we need to know about how Barry Trotz felt about Ryan Johansson and also Matt Duchene, that this isn't a retirement home. This is a place to come and win. So Matt Duchene is no longer a part of the Nashville Predators. Ryan Johansson, no longer a part of the Nashville Predators. And this team is a dramatically different. So Barry Trotz supposedly executes this move and the Johansson trade as part of a rebuilding the culture in the room and on the ice. Now, it's going to be a very young team, and you have to realize the expectations now for potential playoffs and anything else are certainly diminished. But the Nashville Predators, though they just removed Johansson and Duchene from the roster, did go on and make some moves. Just to close out, Duchene, 249 games with the Nashville Predators, 197 points, 43 goals, the all-time franchise leader in a single season, 21-22. And then again, signed that 1-year deal with Dallas. Now, a long chapter. Turris and Duchene is now finally closed. Well, it'll still be on the books for 6 more years, but it is finally closed. And this is Barry Trotz undoing what myself and many people think was David Poyle's perhaps largest mistake here as the Nashville Predators general manager. The 3-way trade to get Kyle Turris when the Nashville Predators really wanted Matt Duchene just seemed to screw this organization up for years. First of all, Sam Girard was a great defensive prospect that was completely lost in that trade to Colorado. The Nashville Predators would have been much better off hanging on to him, but the Nashville Predators end up getting Kyle Turris and then later on end up getting Matt Duchene, making it a redundancy and making the relationship here under Peter Laviolette and with David Poyle still as the GM a complexity that none of us have truly ever had explained to us or can understand. But what we know is Kyle Turris was a broken hockey player shortly after that and had to be bought out. And now Matt Duchene has also had to be bought out. So a long chapter that certainly did not help the Nashville Predators in the long run. The Turris trade and the Duchene acquisition did not help this team in any meaningful way. Matt Duchene would have a nice season there with the 43 goals, but overall the Nashville Predators with Duchene, with Turris, would accomplish nothing when it comes to the playoffs. So unfortunately for the Nashville Predators, it was time to move on, and it's time to move on to free agency. And what a day for Twitter to decide to completely fall apart and have a meltdown. One of the more fun days it is to be on social media when it comes to NHL free agency. But I still remember how to get those pieces of information from old sources and not just social media, so able to piece it together throughout the day and track it myself. I also spent a lot of time watching NHL Network, unfortunately doing it the long form way, but that was the way it had to be done. So Barry Trotz going into his first day of free agency as a general manager in the National Hockey League for the Nashville Predators, and immediately after completely lulling the Nashville media to sleep, and all of you should know better than that. When a GM is offering you a lullaby, you ought to know he's going to come out swinging at 12:01 when the free agency starts. Luke Schenn was the first signing by the Nashville Predators. It's a 3-year deal, $8.25 million. He's a 33-year-old defenseman, 6'2", 225 pounds. And Barry Trotz's quote about the player, who's played 933 games in his career and has 764 penalty minutes, is that the captain, Roman Josi, takes too many hits and teams take too many liberties with Roman Josi, so that Schenn would now be out there to help with that. So that perhaps gives us the anticipatory move of saying that Josi and Schenn are perhaps going to be a defensive pairing going into this season. It sure sounded like it by the reasoning for Barry Trotz making the sign. Now, Ryan O'Reilly then was signed to a 4-year, $4.5 million per season. Now, that's a decent amount of money. 991 games played in his career, 256 goals, 446 assists, 702 points, face-off winning percentage of 55.8%. No matter where he has played, I have always noticed and always appreciated what he can do in the face-off dot. He will certainly help the Nashville Predators in that particular category. Brought in because he's a leadership and culture guy. We heard a lot about this throughout the draft and throughout free agency, at least in the early day of free agency. So for the Nashville Predators, moving on from Duchene and adding O'Reilly. So next year, Duchene will make $2.56 to not play. O'Reilly will make $4.5 to play for the team. So you're still spending about the same amount of money. So again, just to emphasize how much Barry Trotz must have wanted Duchene out of Nashville. So Ryan O'Reilly, Luke Schenn were the first two signings, and then pretty quickly after that, we would find out about forward Gustav Nyquist being signed for a 2-year, $6.27 million total contract, 703 games, played 428 points in his career. There's no way really of telling where he's going to fit in the lineup at this moment, but with the amount of youth, the amount of inexperience, you've got to think that Nyquist is going to have a chance to compete for perhaps a top 6 winger spot, at least coming out of camp for the first part of the season until he can be displaced. Now, that displacement could happen as soon as training camp, or it could happen down the road throughout the season, but we'll find out. But Nyquist, obviously another experienced player, another 30-plus-year-old being brought in. And that wasn't it for Barry Trotz. Barry Trotz also took care of some in-house business, re-signing Cody Glass, 2 years, $2.5 million per season. That is a impressive and important signing right there. Glass is really starting to blossom right now, and he's really putting it all together, and I would have hated to see him leave at this point in his development, because I think over this next 2 years, he's going to put it together to the point where he is going to earn a massive, he's already earned a massive pay raise in this contract, but I think the next contract 2 years from now, he's really going to get another big deal. And Alex Carrier is somebody who's obviously betting on that as well. 1 year, $2.5 million. He resigns with the Nashville Predators. You know how I feel about Alex Carrier. If you watch the show or listen to the show for any length of time, I think Alex Carrier is a fantastic young defenseman in the Nashville Predators organization and is only getting better and is going to continue getting better, but it didn't stop there. Anthony Angelo also re-signed a 2-way deal, mostly going to be anticipated to be in Milwaukee. Really helped the Admirals Admirals this year in their run to the conference final of the Calder Cup playoffs against Coachella Valley. And Troy Grosnick, as a goaltender, has signed a one-year deal, and he will be with the Milwaukee Admirals. So it looks like Troy Grosnick is back with the organization and will also be backing up Yaroslav Askarov. And we know that because now Devin Cooley, who backed up Askarov last season, and who Devin Cooley's been with the Milwaukee Admirals a couple of seasons now, has been a really, really good, solid player for the Admirals. He has now signed with Buffalo, and so therefore a goalie free agent was needed. Troy Grosnick will fill that role. It does appear, unless the Admirals go out and sign another goaltender. All right, that is going to wrap up what happened in the first day of free agency. Just an absolutely incredibly busy time here for the Nashville Predators. From the draft to buyouts and trades straight to free agency, we've got it all covered right here on the Renegades of Puck podcast. We sure appreciate you checking out the show. We'll be back to wrap things up right after this. So much information all coming out at once. We probably could have done 2 full episodes, if not more, just on the information we've given you so far. We'll be back. We got a couple of house cleaning things to do, and we will close the book on last season because we've already started this season of coverage. So we'll be back here on the Renegades Puck podcast right after this.
Hello. I'm Tracy, owner-operator of Strong Style Fitness. And that's me and my training assistant, Rizzo. And we are here to bring you fitness that meets you where you are by offering circuit classes, bar-inspired classes, Tabata workouts, boot camps, guided stretching, and more, all taught by a certified personal trainer, me. To learn more, go to our website, strongstylefit.com. Subscribe on YouTube at Strong Style Fitness. Follow on social media at Strong Style Fit. But most importantly, let's get you moving. It doesn't matter if it's your first workout or you've been doing it for years. Strong Style Fitness has the workout that meets you on your journey and helps you along the path to a happier, healthier life. I understand where you've been, what you were going through, and where you were going, and I want to take you there. We'll see you on the mat. Mwah.
I'm Crazy Charlie Saunier, host and captain of the award-winning Renegades of Puck podcast, and I'm pausing the show for just a moment to talk to you about Brandy over at Stripe Digital Solutions. Stripe Digital Solutions has helped me build a media empire as an independent entity here at the Renegades of Puck. Whether it's graphic design, as you can see on the wall behind me, creating the logo for the show, our t-shirt designs right here, our special event posters. When it comes to graphic design, the Renegades of Puck have been able to compete with any other operation on the planet, no matter what level of business they are. You will also be able to compete. My website looks as good as anyone's on the planet and is updated perfectly. Brandy does an incredible job when it comes to all of the different facets of digital management. Trust me. With the decentralization of social media as we are currently undergoing, it is more critical than ever to have a strong website, and Brandy over at Stripe Digital Solutions is going to help you create that. Brandy has gone above and beyond at every opportunity to help me when it comes to special event planning, building graphics, and anything else that the Renegades of Puck operations needed. You see this coffee mug right here? Created by Stripe Digital Solutions. The pins, the set, everything around you, assisted, created, or made by Stripe Digital Solutions. I could not be a successful podcast owner and operator today if it wasn't for the assistance of Stripe Digital Solutions. Brandy, stick taps, love, and respect. Stripe Digital Solutions has made the Renegades of Puck one of the most successful hockey podcasts on the entire Full Press NHL network. Update on the Renegades of Puck Hockey Club before we wrap up episode number 775 right here. And I've got to tell you, the Renegades of Puck are in the thick of it in the summer session at the Gary Force Acura Ice Arena in Nolensville. Top 4 will qualify for the playoffs out of an 8-team league. The bottom 4 will, of course, play in their own playoff bracket, but the top 4 teams will get to play for the championship. Right now, the Renegades of Puck solidly in third place. We have a record of 5-1-1 after 7 games, and I got to tell you, the reason that there is a 5 in front of that 1-1 is because of one player and one player only this previous week. facing off against the defending champion Norse and a team that had only lost one game last season and one game this season, and pounded the Renegades the week before 4-1, putting us all out of sorts and making us look like the team that, frankly, we are not. This week, a rematch against the Norse, and shorthanded and short-benched, it was the Renegades of Puck, being led by goaltender Aaron Froats, carrying us over the top of this summit to a victory. And when I say it was a mountain, it was a battle all the way. Froats, 47 out of 48 in this game, 38 shots against in the second, third, and overtime alone. 2 of 3 in the shootout for the 2-1 shootout victory for the Renegades of Puck. The Renegades of Puck started the game with 8 skaters, finished the game with 10. We had 2 join in progress, including the big run-in by Run ZMC Zach McCann in the second period. Really helped uplift the spirits of the Renegades of Puck. It was sort of our Willis Reed moment, except Zach would go on to actually do something out there other than just lift the spirits of the team. Highly impressive, but I've never seen a goaltending performance like what Aaron Froats put on of any of the teams I've ever skated for or skated against. I have never seen a goaltender that dialed in. 47 out of 48, and with Renegades of Puck defenders falling out all over the place, unable to take their next shifts, it was up to Froats for the final 2 periods plus overtime plus the shootout to carry us over the top of that summit, and he absolutely did. Again, Froats, stick taps, love, and respect. I've never seen anything like it, and though we competed as hard as we could out there, we just simply could not do enough to help and support you, but you carried us through, and that's highly impressive. That's why the Renegades Puck are 5-1-1 in the shootout. Brandon Adams with a sick backhander, and then Run ZMC Zach McCann follows that up, the second shot of the shootout, another sick backhander right there, and then Aaron Froats shuts it down right there, getting the Renegades of Puck that second pivotal point in the standings. We'll face off against the Bobcats this week, and then we got 2 more games to wrap up the regular season, but the playoff picture is starting to become a little bit more clear, and thanks to Aaron Froats, we are right in the middle of it. Renegades of Puck battled hard, showed a lot of heart, and for the players that were out there on the ice, I sure do appreciate everything that you guys did to go ahead and put in that effort. Now, one more thing to talk about, and it is time to close the book on this past season. I want you to go ahead and take a look at it right there. This is the book right here. This is every note. This is every format for show. This is every script from this past season, and every one of these is handwritten. And I think you guys know the level of effort that we put into the show here and the level of focus and the level of jam that we like to bring. Here, take a look at it one more time. It's hundreds and hundreds of pages of notes. The volumes go into a safe closet now, and they get protected and kept permanently. I have 7 volumes like this so far. Unfortunately, the first 2 years or so of the show, I did not start saving every single format, but I have ever since, so going all the way back to previous to 2017, I have every single show the Renegades of Puck have ever done, with 775 shows now in the book. That's mighty impressive record keeping and bookkeeping, so I can look back and see what notes we made, what we talked about in the recap, what guests, analysts, whoever, whatever was on the show. I can track it and look it up. So this will be going off to whatever Hall of Fame, Broadcasting Hall of Fame, Radio Hall of Fame, Renegades of Puck Hall of Fame, I don't care, at some point in time. But I just wanted to show you guys the physical representation of us closing the book on the 22-23 season, and now officially moving on to the 23-24 season. This sheet right here, number 775, that will be the first entrant into the next volume, so it'll go in the drawer out here in the bunker until this time next summer when we'll put the next volume together. So stick taps, love, and respect, my Renegades. Each and every one of you has done a tremendous job of making this show the biggest it has ever been, the best it has ever been, and after 2 years of doing it as an independent, though it is incredibly hard work, I still have the drive and I still have the jam to do it. So looking forward to having each and every one of you in the trenches as we now transition to what this new Predators team is going to look like. It's going to be very interesting. It's going to be the most competitive training camp, I think, in team history, and we have no idea what the expectations are for this Predators team, but it's going to be fun to track, and it has been nothing but chaos chaos. I don't know that I understand all of it, but I'm here for the chaos. I sure do appreciate the amount of content that Barry Trotz has already brought us. Now, that's going to be it for Operation 775. I went a little bit long here at the exit because I just wanted to say happy 4th of July. I hope each and every one of you are extremely safe out there. Please don't put anybody at risk. Be safe with your fireworks. Don't be stupid with your drinking. Don't get behind the wheel of a car, and take care of each other out there, Renegades. It's up to each and every one of us to watch out for each other and take care of each other. And so I would appreciate if you would go ahead and do that. We'll be back with more content, more shows soon. We're going to take a break for 4th of July right now, though, and we're going to go enjoy it. We're going to get outside, and we're going to enjoy some of this summer heat. So after a couple of days of power outages and all kinds of severe storms and all kinds of problems here in the Middle Tennessee area, we're going to go enjoy the backyard just a little bit. So I hope everybody is safe. I hope that you guys have a great 4th of July. I appreciate each and every one of you. I appreciate your time, and I certainly appreciate everything that you've done for the Renegades of Puck podcast. I am your host and Captain Crazy Charlie Saunier. Stick taps, love, and respect.